If you're interested in living in Mexico or anywhere in Latin America as an entrepreneur or expat, you might be asking, where's the easiest, smartest, best country to get a second passport in 2026? Today, we're comparing two options, Uruguay and Mexico, and what it means for businesses, taxes, freedom, and lifestyle. Neither is a super fast track or buy a passport type of scheme exactly, and each has its own trade offs. By the end of this video, you'll have clarity on which path might fit you the best, and you're going to know what some of the steps are that you need to take to start along that journey. Hi, I'm Justin Keltner, and here at Entrepreneur Expat, we share with you tips and strategies on how to build a better life overseas, whether that involves building a business that allows you to make money wherever you are in the world, figuring out the visa, the immigration process, the taxes, and so much more. We tend to work a lot with high net worth individuals who have got wealth that they're looking to protect, they're looking to secure, and maybe the US right now and Canada are not the best places to do it. So we help people invest, we help people buy real estate, find real estate to rent, maybe short term while they're getting their feet on the ground in different countries. We can help you with all of that. If you have $1 million or more in net assets, just book a call below at entrepreneurexpat.com/consult, and we can help you come up with a customized plan, including tax strategy, wealth management, visa planning, and overall relocation strategy for you, your family, and your business. So why does a second citizenship or passport matter so much for entrepreneur expats? Well, number one, it gives you freedom of travel. Whether you're from the US or Canada or elsewhere, you might find that even though you have a good passport, perhaps you don't have as much freedom of travel on that passport as you would like to. Maybe you can't go to Russia or you can't go to different countries in Asia without a visa. If you have a Mexican passport, for example, you can spend up to 6 months in Japan visa free, and there's so much more of Latin America you can travel to, including Brazil, without having to get a visa. It also gives you business mobility, and it's a really nice hedge against geopolitical and tax risk. As we know, Western governments do not lower the taxes over time, they keep increasing them. And even taxes that aren't really taxes, like inflation, where they just decide to print more money, that's really a tax, right? And so if you're running a cross-border business, or you're making income from multiple different countries, or you're even living in a country with better tax strategies available, then you can hedge some of that risk. And of course, also having a business that can run anywhere, which we also teach people to do. Just check out some of the free content and courses in the description below. But having a business that can run from anywhere is also a really good hedge. And you can also have a second base that can give you some flexibility for that business, whether you're looking to tap into local talent pools or perhaps expand and get more reach with customers across Latin America. Having presence in one of these countries gives you the ability to do that. A lot of people also want the lifestyle and tax planning benefits. They'll do their relocation, get residency, and look at different structures for investment, and all those things interplay with the citizenship options. Of course, there's caveats. There's time, there's cost, there's in some cases physical presence requirements, and we'll get into what those are specifically and how they differ from country to country. And there's tax and residency implications depending on how much time in a year you're going to spend in a given country. Let's get into first what it looks like to actually obtain your citizenship in Mexico. So there's a naturalization route, and that's the most common. Foreign nationals can apply after legally residing in Mexico for 5 years, but that does drop to 2 years if you're married to a Mexican citizen, if you have a Mexican child, or if you're from a Latin American or Iberian country. Now, to get the residency in the first place, to just qualify for that, you do need to have certain financial requirements. So you start typically with temporary residence, which we've gone into in depth in other videos. So check out some of those on our channel with some of the numbers that are required. But ballpark number as of today is around $4,200 per month in income, or close to $70,000 US in a bank account to show that you are capable of supporting yourself in Mexico, or that you have remote income that will allow you to take care of yourself here without taking jobs away from locals, or without having to depend on any sort of social security net here. Now, Mexico does allow you to have dual nationality. You don't have to renounce your original nationality, so that's pretty cool. There are some countries in the world that don't recognize dual citizenship and that make you renounce your other passport, but there's plenty of people who hold both a Mexican passport and a US passport, and there's nothing wrong with having both of those passports in either country. One thing that Mexico does not offer, though, is it does not offer a direct investment for passport type of program in the sense of you pay, say, $250,000 or $500,000 and you get citizenship like they had in Malta previously, or like they still have in some citizenship by investment programs in the Caribbean. It's more about your lawful resident status, integration into society, and time. And as an entrepreneur expat based in Mexico, citizenship does give you full rights. You can vote, you're free to work, you can own property unrestricted. Without citizenship, you can still own certain kinds of property, but other types of property, like by the coastline or by the international border, are restricted. There's loopholes, there's ways around it, but it's not quite as secure as owning property as an actual card-carrying member of Mexico, right? And it can also simplify your residence structure, right? So if you do have that passport, obviously you don't have to worry too much about, hey, are we in the country? Do we need to renew something? Whatever. It simplifies the planning of when you're going to be here, when you aren't. There isn't as much of a requirement. Now, in some cases, if you're absolutely not in Mexico at all, you spend 5 years or more out of the country, there have been some cases where people have gotten their citizenship revoked. But for the most part, as long as you're coming from time to time, you don't have any issues. You do want to pay attention to tax obligations, though, both in Mexico and your home country, because both of those things still matter. If you're a US citizen, for example, no matter where you are in the world, you always have to declare and oftentimes pay taxes to the US government. Obviously, there's some treaties, there's things like that. If you are interested in getting specific hands-on advice with your unique personal situation, just go to entrepreneurexpat.com/consult, and my team can advise you on some of the best ways to optimize things for that. So in summary, there is a relatively clear path, especially if you're planning on living and operating your life and your business in Mexico. Dual citizenship is accepted, and there's a strong lifestyle component here. The lifestyle is very, very nice. The weather's amazing. There's a lot of friendly people. There's a ton of expats, and the infrastructure is pretty good as well. The cons are it's a little time heavy, 2 years to the typical 5 years of what most people are going to spend, and you do have a physical stay and residency required. It's not a quick passport by any means. Now we're going to cover what it looks like to get citizenship in Uruguay. So in Uruguay, they also don't have any sort of pure citizenship by investment scheme that's typical in some of the Caribbean nations. You do have the option, and this is the most common one that digital nomads and people that are making money online come in on, which is your independent means option. So you've got a stable passive income or an active income, and there's also an investment route through real estate or business, which can accelerate things a little bit. The timelines typically look like for a married couple, naturalization can be possible after 3 years of residence, for singles after 5 years. And there are residency requirements in terms of physical presence in order to actually be able to get that citizenship. It's lower. The benefit of being an investor is that the threshold is lower. You only have to spend roughly 60 days per year in a lot of cases if you are an investor, like you're building a business there, you're investing in things in Uruguay. But you do have to spend closer to around 6 months per year if you are not an investor and if you're just coming with passive or active income into the country. You do have to spend more, at least long enough that you can convince them that you are serious. Typically, anecdotally at least, there's no real published requirement, but they're typically saying at least 6 months per year is what you want to spend in Uruguay. Contrast that with Mexico. There really is no requirement to be in the country at all other than for those renewals. And Uruguay also does allow dual citizenship. There's no issues with that. They do not require you to renounce your previous nationality. Now, as with most countries, whenever you are an Uruguayan citizen in Uruguay, you're typically treated just as an Uruguayan citizen, right? They're not looking at you as a dual national, and that's the case almost anywhere. Like if you go to the US and you're a US citizen and a Mexican citizen, for the purposes of the US government, you are a US citizen. Now you may still be able to get consular support and things like that, but typically you are the citizen of whatever nation you're in if you hold that nation's passport. So Uruguay is called, especially for their stable economy and their great banking, It's called the Latin American Switzerland, or the Switzerland of South America. It's great for diversification, but you do need genuine residence and genuine integration and an intention to stay there. The pros, like I mentioned, are that you've got flexible residency options, citizenship in as little as 3 years if you're married, which is slightly shorter than the standard 5 years in Mexico. And you can have dual citizenship just like you can with Mexico, and the lifestyle is excellent. Some of the cons are that it can be, like I mentioned, a little bit of a longer term play than some other passports. You need to integrate. You may have to make a significant investment in the country if you don't plan on living there roughly 6 months per year. And it's also quite a bit more expensive than Mexico. I'll say that as well. We were looking at apartments in Uruguay because we were kind of considering it. And we thought for what we would spend there on an apartment, we could have our condo here in the Chapala area. We could have a small apartment in Southeast Asia and an apartment or a condo in Central Europe, and we would be paying the same total as a $1,200 to $1,500 just basic apartment in some place like Montevideo. It is a little bit pricier than Mexico, and the English might not be quite as good as other places like very heavy expat communities in Mexico. So Spanish is very strongly suggested. Obviously, there's expat communities wherever you go in Uruguay and in other countries, but those are some of the things to consider. So here are the main decision factors for you as an entrepreneur expat and how Uruguay and Mexico stack up. Just to kind of recap here, so the time to citizenship, Mexico is 2 to 5 years, but for most people, unless you've got a Mexican parent or a Mexican spouse, it's going to be closer to 5 years. For Uruguay, it's 3 to 5 years or potentially longer, mainly banking on the fact that you're going to spend at least half of your time in Uruguay. That's what gives you the fastest path to that citizenship in Uruguay at the lowest cost. Now, investment versus residency requirements. In Mexico, you do have to have the residency plus integration, but no heavy investment. In Uruguay, you can do it through purely residency and time in the country, but investment options will give you a quicker path with lower stay requirements. In terms of that physical presence, you really don't need to spend any specific number of days in Mexico in order to convert your temporary residence later on for a Mexican passport, other than about 3 months per year average in the 2 years before you request that passport. So let's say years 1, 2, and 3, you're kind of in and out as much as you'd like. And then years 4 and 5, you are there at least 3 months per year average for those 2 years before you apply. Of course, Uruguay had that lower presence route, as little as 60 days for investors, but you do need genuine residency, higher than Mexico in any case. Both allow for dual nationality, and for businesses and entrepreneurs, might be a better fit for going to Mexico. There's a lot of opportunity here. Uruguay is cool for banking, it's cool for investments, and it's really, really great for retirees. Honestly, both are actually pretty good if you're gonna run a business, especially if it's a remote business, and there's plenty of opportunity in both countries. They both have very solid economies. Their economies are booming compared to a lot of countries in the West where things are kind of starting to go down. So lifestyle and infrastructure, Mexico already is familiar to a lot of people. It's got a very similar culture to the US. Uruguay is actually a similar culture in a lot of ways to Europe. It's a very European country, especially some of those big cities. The other thing that I'll mention about Uruguay that's very, very cool that they have going on now is they actually will give you a tax holiday for 11 years, meaning they normally do tax on passive income and dividends, but for 11 years you can elect to get a tax holiday on all of that dividend income, or alternatively, you can choose to pay only 7% tax on your dividend income for life. Now, Mexico, this is kind of what they say a lot about Mexico. Mexico is one of the higher tax countries in Latin America where nobody really pays taxes. So technically, they have a sliding scale of like a progressive tax system all the way up to about 38%, including on your active income. But realistically, most expats don't declare or even pay taxes in Mexico. So it's a little bit of a wash. But especially if you're making a lot, like maybe you're making 6 or 7 figures in your business or more, and you want to do things like totally on the up and up, Uruguay might be better, even if the cost of living is higher there by 2 or 3x, because there's no tax on any active foreign income, and you can elect those tax advantageous plans on any passive income that you have from overseas. So that was our comparison on Uruguay versus Mexico in 2025 going into 2026. If you're an entrepreneur expat or aspiring expat, you need some help figuring out these plans for yourself. We've got a ton of courses down below this video and off to the side as well that you can check out. You can get our relocation roadmap blueprint where we talk about the exact step-by-step strategy to build your plan for relocating to any country. We talk about a lot of the principles and best practices that are going to help you understand where you want to go, why you want to go there, how to get there, and how to actually integrate and have a successful life as an expat. Definitely buy that course while we have it available. And if you've got $1 million or more in net assets, then book a call below and we can help you one-on-one. Our team is going to help you get started, and wherever you're at on that journey, we can help you, including tax planning, business strategy, and visas, and so much more. That's entrepreneurexpat.com/consult. Thanks again. Don't forget to like this video. It helps us out a ton. And subscribe to this channel because we're coming out with new content every single day about how to make your expat dreams a reality. Thanks so much.